This may be a long one. Honest to goodness, I am so excited to be filming today that I just want to take my time because it brings me joy. Okay, all right. So I hope you've got your cup of coffee, tea, water, wine, martini, I don't know, whatever you're drinking, I'm not judging. So I was actually going to do this video and buy some new products to test out that are like 5-star rated on Sephora. But considering what's going on right now, I actually thought about shopping my stash for products that happen to be 5-star rated on Sephora, and I have an entire full face of items. I had so much fun digging through my collection. I have very mixed feelings about a lot of the products that I'm gonna use today. Some that I've loved for years, some that are newer to me, some that I feel like the rating is kind of interesting, and I'll try to share why. Let's dive in, shall we? I've got to like actually get everything out. I don't know why I put it all in this bag. And by the way, I will link this bag. It was a purchase inspired by Taylor Wynn, this really cute makeup bag that looks kind of like designer-esque. Amazon, like 20 bucks. So first product we're gonna put on, I've already like serumed and SPF'd and stuff. We're gonna use the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. I bought this because Emily Noel talked about it all the time. So I bought it a few months ago, and I like it. It's a nice, thick moisturizer, especially in the winter. I feel like it's really, really just, I mean, obviously moisturizing. And it's expensive, but it is nice. I could see myself, like this smaller thing was like 20 bucks maybe. I could see myself eventually buying a bigger one, but it normally comes in a jar. And honestly, I kind of like that this is in a squeezy tube. So I wish they like gave the option of a squeezy tube for like the larger amounts. So it definitely has kind of like a citrusy smell. I don't mind it so much. And I typically just apply it to the center of my face and then spread it out toward like the outer corners of my face. Next up, this one also had 5 stars on Sephora. It is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. Honestly, I've had this particular one for quite a while. I do really, really enjoy it. However, there are definitely drugstore versions that come super close, so you don't have to spend the money, but it is nice. Again, kind of wish this was in a pump instead of this, because I feel like I don't typically mind doe foot applicators with like any product, but it's really hard to get the amount I want out of this. It just gets on the very tip, so I feel like I'm constantly going in and out, and then it's really hard to tell like how much I truly have left. I don't know. I honestly use this just like as a primer everywhere. I know some people only put it in certain spots. I just kind of go ham because I love glowy primers. Like if I'm gonna take the time to put on a primer, I'm gonna put it everywhere. But one thing I have learned with this specific primer is that it does best if you don't over blend it. So a lot of times I would keep, you know, blending and blending and blending, and it would basically just blend away the glowiness. So I just kind of tap it in and spread it out, and then I stop because I tend to just over blend. And this is a product that you do have to stop or you will blend away the beautiful glowiness. But I love it on my under eye because I feel like it makes the light bounce off it nicely. So when I put concealer on top, it just looks even prettier and just more like youthful. It's a rainy day where I'm at, so I don't really mind being inside, you know? And last night we just watched the Downton Abbey movie, and wow, I can't believe I waited this long to watch it, considering I did watch the entire series back when it was on, and it was so good. There were times I cried. I feel like I cried harder in the movie than I did like for the very last episode of Downton Abbey, like the show. I don't know. What do we typically do next? Foundation. Oh, this is one that I found interesting, that it was rated 5 stars. And I tried to pick products that were rated 5 stars, but it had a decent number of reviews, because I feel like a lot of them were 4.5, 5 stars, but they were like, they had 20 reviews. So I tried to find ones that had like hundreds or thousands. Man, some of them have like 78,000 like ratings. I'm like, holy moly. This one had some high ratings. The Anastasia Luminous foundation, this one had really high ratings. I have used this off and on. I've done a review along with like 4 other foundations here on my channel. I can link that above and down below with wear tests and stuff. This was one that it didn't wear and look as perfect as I like. Like, I just feel like there are other foundations out there that were better. But we're gonna use it again with a fresh lens. It's been a while since I've used it. And we're gonna apply it my favorite way with my favorite sponge and just make sure that I'm not crazy. Again, I've kept it for a reason. I didn't think it was like the worst thing I've ever used. Like the Pat McGrath foundation that I tried in that video, oh my gosh, it looked so bad on my skin. Some people love it, like it is their holy grail. I really think that is like a foundation that it has to be exactly the type of coverage and look you want, and right for your skin type. It was just way too dry and cakey on me and just, ugh, it did not look good. It really is pretty when you, like, think about it. I'm putting on a Luminous foundation on top of a Luminous primer, you know, but it does look pretty. We'll give it another go because you know what? I was kind of surprised at how much recently when I retried the Josie Maran like Argan Oil foundation and how much I liked that. And I liked it before, but it's super dewy, but it did look healthy on the skin. And this does give me a similar vibe to that. So I would say you wouldn't need to try both. You know, if you love dewy foundations, you certainly don't need both. So we definitely need some concealer. Now I have two different options because the original one I was gonna use, did I end up grabbing? I don't think I grabbed it yet though. But the original one I was gonna use that has nearly 5 stars is the Marc Jacobs Accomplice Concealer. I had bought this not for like under eye concealer, but for concealing spots on my face. And it's so creamy and emollient. It is so nice for a stick concealer. I feel like it's just every time I use it, I'm surprised. So I actually don't mind using this on the under eye. I feel like it stays pretty well. Definitely for me, it blends best with the finger because with a sponge, it's just not quite right for this kind of product, I don't think. Because it is still a cream and not a liquid like most concealers I like and tend to use. But it definitely, you know, blended with your finger, doesn't that look nice? Like no concealer, concealer. It's quick, it's easy. This is not cheap though. I mean, really none of the products I'm talking about here are cheap. But sometimes with certain products, like if you're gonna use it for a long time and you can afford to do it, it's a nice investment. And this is a very nice concealer. I do think it does a great job covering spots. It's not the highest coverage concealer for like zits, so I wouldn't say like if you're buying this just for that. But if you would use it both ways, then I think you would like it. And you really don't need a lot, so I feel like it would last a decent amount of time. I have the shade number Fair 10 in this, by the way, and I'm wearing 150W in the Anastasia Luminous. All right, brows. I have been getting back into brow pomades because I've just been kind of lightly doing my brows. And I've gotten some questions about how I'm doing it with a pomade and still doing it lightly. Honestly, I end up just wiping off a lot of it before I ever go in. So I'm using Ash Brown, this Anastasia Dip Brow, highly rated. And honestly, it's really good. I've used a lot of other brands of pomades and I still always go back to this one. I don't think Ash Brown is the perfect match for me. And the old medium brown was, but now it's just not quite right. So I'm still looking for the right shade, but I'm gonna keep using this because it works. But I literally, once I've gotten it onto the brush, I just go wipe, and just wipe a lot of it off. I know that seems kind of wasteful. These end up drying out before you ever would use it up. Like it takes me 1.5 years, 2 years to use one of these up. Like it's too long. So I then brush through my brows and then I just start at the tail because that's where I want the most of the color. And then I just kind of lightly use whatever's left on the brush, and there's not much, to kind of push the brows up, kind of giving a little bit of a line underneath. That's pretty much all I do. It's really quick. I still use my brow pencils. Like you guys know, I still love the LA Girl Shady Slim, but I've just been kind of going through a pomade moment. I feel like it can look surprisingly natural depending on how you use it. Obviously, you can also go way overboard. But I just feel like this is one of those products that it stays in place. I mean, any pomade, as long as you can get a good shade match for yourself, any brand of brow pomade stays really well. That's what's so wonderful about them. So drugstore brand ones are typically pretty good. It's just the shade. You just gotta find the one you need. And it's hard to do, even when I'm like swatching something like this in a store that would have testers, you know? It's hard to tell. So we've been vlogging all week and it's gonna go up on my channel, just like a weekly vlog this weekend. We'll see how it goes and if we want to keep doing it every week while we're kind of in the home. You know what I mean? Obviously, this is something I wouldn't be able to do forever and ever. But for right now, you know, we are at home and it's something enjoyable for me to do. So definitely stay tuned. Check it out this weekend. Actually, I'm realizing you're probably seeing this. It would have already been up. So hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you did, I might be doing it again this coming weekend. I forgot this is gonna go up next week. Anyway, so that's pretty much all I do. I really do love this. This lasts forever. It's a little over 20 bucks and it really does last a long time. And it doesn't dry out as quickly as a lot of the other brands I have tried. I'm now thinking about a few that dried up really fast, and this one, these will last at least a year and a half, I think. So the next thing that was so highly rated, loose powders. The Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Powder, I love that. I thought about using that, but this one was also highly rated, the Hourglass Veil Loose Powder, and I have been using this so much. It's been in my everyday makeup drawer, so we're just gonna put a little bit on. The packaging of this is kind of nice because only a little bit of powder pops up, and so a lot of times I'll get some on my brush from there, and then in the lid, I'll just kind of shake it around in there. It's just kind of cool packaging. I don't know if they meant for it to be used that way or not, but it works out really well. So definitely gonna need to set this powder, there's no doubt. Set this foundation. I do think that this does blur your face a nice amount. Most translucent powders that are worth their salt do though. And that's why at a certain point, all translucent powders are created equally, but I do think some are better than others. You know what I mean? And this is one that it's definitely powder. Like, you know, you can kind of see, but it sets it down, but it doesn't completely take away all of the dewiness. I do feel like it holds on to makeup throughout the day and helps it last longer. And again, loose powder is something that if you did want to invest in it, it lasts for quite a while. So you can get a nice one, especially if you find one that has packaging that will make it easier to use. Because, you know, some packaging that's just like wide open. Oh, drugstore option that I do really enjoy is the Maybelline Fit Me loose powder. And actually, I need to make sure I like to powder the brows to make sure they stay in place. Especially, it's not as big of a problem I feel like when I do pomades, but when I do like my LA Girl Shady Slim, I do feel like if I don't set that before doing like my eye makeup and stuff, it starts to slip around a little bit. So throwing a little bit of the leftover powder onto them solves the problem perfectly. I need to powder my under eye because I do feel like it's nice and creamy. It doesn't settle too badly into fine lines, but it's still a cream. And so I just feel like it does a little bit better. One project I absolutely need to do while I'm in the house is wash my makeup brushes. I'm sure we're all hitting that point where we're like reckoning with ourselves. We're like, all right, we need to wash the makeup brushes. They need it. You've got the time. There's no excuse. Okay, eye primer. One of the highest rated, no surprise, is the Urban Decay Primer Potion. This I've had for a while. Honestly, I don't use eye primer every day, so I only own a couple. And so it just worked out that I had this. I don't think you need to spend the money on this. I think the Milani one is like exactly the same thing. And if you're of the kind of train that you don't use eye primer all the time anyway, like I don't, then you definitely don't need to spend the money. So I'm just kind of using this up. I think it's good. It's not bad, and a lot of times you can get a really good sale, like the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale, things like that. I did do a video on the sale and the best and worst things they have. I can link that up in the eye. I just did that last week, and the sale is still going strong. This, I am so excited. I have not used this in months. This is the Violet Voss Holy Grail Eyeshadow Palette. This is one of my absolute favorites. This thing has been to heck and back because I've loved it. I've spilled coffee on it. It's still withstanding the test of time. It doesn't really make any sense. It's funny though, when I look at this, I'm like, this does not look like a Jessie palette to me. Like it's very, very warm with the red and that kind of orangey yellow, but it's so beautiful, you guys. And these shadows blend. It just looks like, I heard Lauren May Beauty say this in a video recently. She said she likes her eyeshadow to look more like watercolor inspired. And I was like, yes, that is like the perfect way to describe that. If you don't watch Lauren May Beauty's channel, I freaking love her. I never miss an upload. I will link her below. She has unique video ideas. She's budget conscious of how she's spending her money, but she loves makeup and she's good at makeup. Anyway, I love that description though. And for me, I feel like I can kind of watercolor paint my eyes with these and it just all blends so beautifully together. No harsh lines, shimmery and like washes of color. Ooh, I think I'm gonna use Cool Beans is one of my favorites right here. So I'm just going to tap that on the lid. These are just like soft, beautiful, satiny shimmers, you know? Like every single one of them is absolutely gorgeous. And I feel I can confidently say that I've never done an eyeshadow look with this that looked muddy or ugly. Like they always look so pretty and well blended, and I'm not even that good at makeup. So now I'm gonna use Bestie right here. It's kind of like a matte. This is another favorite shade of mine. I use pretty much every time I use this to blend. Maybe a little bit of Plouf here and tap it on the center from the top down. And then I'm gonna grab Brownie Points, one of my favorite darker browns I've like ever used, because it's not too scary. I tap a little bit off though, but I usually just tap a little bit in this outer area. I feel like so many darker browns like that can be really, for me, intimidating. And I'm like, oh, I've got to be really focused. But with this, they all blend so well together that it still adds that depth, but it's not like a big old splotch right there. And then I'm gonna grab a little bit of Crystal and just throw it on the brow bone. I typically throw a little highlight up there anyway. Ooh, that's frostier than I meant it. I freaking love this palette, you guys. It is so, so wonderful. All right, for liner, we're gonna use the Stila Stay All Day liquid liner. I'm gonna be honest, this one's getting a little bit old, so I'm like, it might bleed everywhere. We're just gonna see. But I do like this. Again, I think liquid liner is something that it dries out faster than other products, so you have to replace it more often. So spending $20 on one, I don't always like to do. I mean, I don't often do. I really like the Revolution Renaissance Flick liner that's like $9 at Ulta. It's fantastic. That's the one I repurchase, and I only have to buy it like 2 or 3 times a year, I would say. And the packaging's really pretty too, so it's like, why wouldn't you? But that one is a felt tip. This one is also a felt tip. For some reason I was thinking it was a brush tip, but it is a felt tip. And it's super black. It doesn't run unless it's starting to get old, and that's kind of where we're at. And I'm like, ugh, we're just gonna see. It didn't seem to run everywhere. You can definitely be super precise with this. All right, well that one came out way thicker, so we're gonna have to go back in with this one. It did a pretty good job, I will say, and not every liquid liner does. It did a pretty good job of going over a shimmery shadow without ending up kind of mixing with the shimmers and not being quite as black. It really does cover, and I will say many, many liquid liners struggle with that. So if that's something you're gonna do often, I almost always, and now I'm realizing I really don't have to, but I love to layer like a gel liner and then a liquid liner just to create the wing and stuff like that. And that's what I use the Renaissance for, but I don't use that one often on its own, and I feel like I should try it and see if it works as well as this, because this did a great job going over it all on its own. For mascara, we've got the Lancome Monsieur Big. I like this one. It's not my favorite of all time, but I do enjoy it. And actually, this is maybe the second one of these, maybe third that I've owned. But I think I get them like at Christmas time, they'll have deals on them like in little sets. And that's usually when I might buy one that I'll use throughout the year whenever I need a new mascara. Because I do like it, but I just love the Lash Paradise. I'm really enjoying the L'Oreal Bambi Eyes, go figure. And of course the Thrive Cosmetics mascara. And there's like literally 15 mascaras I love. Oh, however, the Essence Lash Extensions mascara is like absolutely top 2 mascaras. But this one is nice. It definitely adds volume. It'll still separate. It's not gonna be crazy clumpy. You can layer it and do like maybe 2 or 3 layers if you want. So I do enjoy it. It gives me the kind of fluttery, thick black lash look that I like without looking too spidery. I feel like we need some bronzer. So as the mascara dries, one of the highest rated, and this actually, I don't know why it surprised me, but it still did, was the Smashbox Cali Contour Kit. Now this I actually have had recently in my bathroom where I get ready when I'm getting ready quickly during the day. I have like makeup over there I use, and this is one I put in there recently and I've been using a lot more. I do actually really like it. If you have fairer skin, these are a lot fairer tones, and so I do enjoy it. But for it to be like that beloved by so many people kind of surprised me, because I felt like I wish the highlight were maybe a little bit lighter. I don't really use this powder as much. I don't know. I do like it though. I don't know why I kind of have mixed feelings towards it, because there's nothing wrong with it. So we're gonna use some of the things from here, but I also wanted to mention the Fenty Beauty bronzer in Into Sun. The Fenty Beauty bronzers are on there, and I know they're coming out with their cream blush and bronzers. And I'm like, oh my, I really want that. I've been using this one a lot the past week or two with this Sephora Pro Diffuser number 64 brush. And it's like the only dense brush I can get to actually get this bronzer to show up. I feel like, I don't know, like it's the, I think, lightest one they have. But I felt like, I remember when I was looking at them, the other one looked like too dark for what I was wanting to use it for. But I don't know. I feel like these powders are a little bit hard to, I don't know. But I don't hate it. And the end look looks nice. It's just not been the easiest bronzer to use every day, but the tone, once it is on, for me, is nice. I feel like these Smashbox ones in here are actually quite pigmented, and so I have to be a little more careful. So I just need something right in the middle. Not too pigmented, but not like so densely packed that it's like hard to get out of the pan. But we will use the blush in here. This is probably my favorite part of this palette. It's such a pretty peachy tone. It looks like MAC Melba, if you're familiar with that. And by the way, I've gotten so many questions about this brush I've started using recently. It's the Zoeva 111. It's their Petite Face Finish. I've used it for setting powder, and I've also been using it lately for blush. It's kind of a shape I'm not used to using, but it's kind of perfect for just literally tapping on blush. Isn't that like the perfect shape? Again, these are really, really pigmented, so you kind of have to be aware of that. Ooh, that's too much. So we're just gonna soak a little bit up, use a little of our foundation to kind of even that out. But I really do like that tone. I think it's really, really pretty. We're gonna use 2 highlights just because I want to. We're gonna throw a little bit of this highlight here on, but then I also have a cream highlight I wanted to use. So I'm just gonna use a little bit of this on my, wow, I guess oh crap. Well, I forgot I'd already put that more shimmery shadow. We're just gonna put the powder, honestly, like a lot. Guys, I love highlighter. I end up putting it all over my face, especially powder. I've been using powder highlighters more than ever lately, but you know I still love cream ones. This is one I bought for a YouTuber made me buy it one. This was Samantha Rovindall's, one of her favorites. And so it's the Marc Jacobs Glow Stick. The shade is Spotlight. And I've been using this a lot lately, and this one was also 5 stars. So I'm just gonna use this for my cheekbone highlight today. Although I typically use it everywhere, just like the powder. It's just so, it catches the light so beautifully. It almost looks more glossy than anything, and I love that look. Just looks so healthy. And I feel like because it's a little bit more glossy looking, it doesn't emphasize a ton of texture the way a powder highlight might. So, and again, this is something that is going to last you forever. So I cannot for the life of me find, I had the Charlotte Tilbury lip liner, and I have it in the shade Super Size Me, because Pillow Talk I used to own actually, and it just didn't quite work for me. I think my lips are literally too pigmented for it. But Super Size Me was a better option for me. I can't find it. I think it's maybe in my purse, I don't know. But one of the highest rated ones was actually a newer launch. It's from IT Cosmetics, and it is their cream lipsticks. I think they're called like their Pillow Soft or something like that. The packaging is so freaking cute. I love the like quiltedness of it. And yeah, it's very, very cute, nice packaging. I have 2 shades here. This one is in the shade Vision, and it's just a nice kind of brownish orange color. These are very, very creamy, so I wasn't that surprised to see them so highly rated. This one's called Wistful, and it's a little bit more pink toned. Let me see if I can get a swatch. There we go. So similar but different. I think I'm gonna use the one in Wistful, that second one I swatched, just because of what I'm wearing today. We're gonna try to do it without a lip liner. These are super creamy. They have a minty smell to them. Not overpowering, but it's definitely there. These are one of these lipsticks that if you have drier lips, like just always, or like I have a lot of lines in my lips, these are a lot prettier than some other lipsticks that are out there because they are so moisturizing and creamy. So just keep that in mind. IT Cosmetics' whole thing, pretty much across the board, is anti-aging stuff. So these are better for, in my opinion, for aging lips as well. Or just for funsies, another one that was 5-star rated is the Fenty Gloss Bombs. My favorite shade is Fussy, and so we're just gonna put some on top. Smells like Bonnabelle Lip Smacker Wonderment. But these on their own are so pretty. They're pretty on top of stuff. They are comfortable. This I had to go dig out of my purse because it is always, I always end up grabbing it and sticking in my purse. It just needs to live there. So pretty, makes your lips look super healthy. Oh my gosh, they're so gorgeous. I totally get the 5-star rating on that. So that's everything. I feel like none of them are awful. And the thing is, like, for me as a smart consumer, I look at reviews a lot, especially if it's something that's been out a while, but for whatever reason now I'm thinking about it. You know, I like to read through them and really think about, like, when someone's reviewing something, are they my same skin type or skin tone? Do they have the same tastes as me? And so it's always helpful, like if you're ever writing a review in the future, including those kinds of details. They can be so helpful to other shoppers. So anyway, I don't know why I'm going off on a rant about how to write reviews. What's wrong with me? But anyway, I hope this video was enjoyable for you, and I am still doing 3 videos a week, now more like 3 to 4 videos a week. I'm thinking about doing some more live videos as well. We'll see. I just think that'd be fun and it's enjoyable to me too. And I hope that you'll subscribe if you enjoy this style of video. I do beauty, home, lifestyle videos here on my channel, and I'd love to come say hi to you on social media. It is at It's Jessica Braun everywhere, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.